class. Welcome to lesson 4. Our two subjects this week are choosing a site builder and choosing a host. So we are moving from business planning over to website building this week. If you're new to this, don't worry. There are some simple options to build a website. It is easier now than ever to launch your own site. You will have Project 2 to start as well. Project 1 is due midweek, and then we'll go through some Project 2 instructions. Projects 1 and 2 are a little bit more time intensive than the other projects in the course, so hopefully you're able to get an early jump on those. If you have not started Project 1 and you're watching this to start the week, please start right away. As I mentioned before, it does take a little bit more time. Choosing a site builder, if you think of hosting and site building, if you compare it to your traditional brick and mortar business, your site builder is the actual building. Your host is more like the land you're purchasing to build on. So when you think of a site builder, think of the construction of what your customers will actually see when they arrive at your site. There are various different types of site builders. We're going to go through 3 main categories, and that is a drag and drop site builder, a content management system, and then here at the bottom, just a build from the ground up, write your own code type of website creation. This is not commonly done in the course, just because it takes a lot of time and effort. But if you have that skill set and you're interested, you are welcome to code your own site from the bottom up. The drag and drop builders are the easiest way to build a website. And so here you've got Weebly and Wix are your most common, but there are many other drag and drop site builders you can use. You are not tied down to the one suggested here. And the process for creating a website here is essentially to choose a preformed template that is close to what you want, and then you'll have a little bit of ability to switch out some pictures and videos and text, and you'll have some customization, but not a lot. You're really taking the template that they use and you're dragging content on there. When they say drag and drop, you're choosing the pictures that you want, and you drag those from a file onto the site, or a video you want to upload, the links for your products. All of that is pretty well preformed on these. Very simple, but not a lot of control or customization over the site. A content management system is going to be that hybrid where you'd have WordPress, Squarespace. Those are the more common content management systems, and you're often going to choose from a template, but you have a lot of control if you want to go in and customize the code on that. It's a little bit more technical, and so you do want some basis in CSS or HTML coding languages to be able to customize that. For the purposes of this course, I do not recommend WordPress. I've just had too many students have trouble with it every semester for years. Whether it's the integration with Google Ads that we'll do later on, or Google Analytics, or just getting it up and running. I've used WordPress. I've built many websites in WordPress. There is some advantages to it, as you can customize it. It's very common, and so there's a lot of information out there online. But for whatever reason, students have just struggled with it, and so I tend to steer students away from WordPress. That's not to say you can't do it. If you're comfortable in WordPress and want to use it, by all means go ahead. If you're unfamiliar with website creation, I would encourage you not to use WordPress. And then finally, as I mentioned, if you have something like Dreamweaver and you want to write the code yourself, you get to fully customize the site, which is really neat. Put in whatever features you want, but it is very time intensive to do that. So for this assignment, you'll create a quantify and compare decision sheet talking about the different website or different site builder options you could use. Make sure you use at least 3 tools and 3 criterion, and then you'll have your your essay to go along with that, to explain which one you chose and why you chose it. Should be at least 150 words in length. Choosing a site builder, so you'll have your discussion board on that, your project one submission midweek, and then you'll jump into choosing a host. It is very similar to choosing a site builder. I will add these words to think about because students have struggled with this in the past, and I want to make sure we help you stay ahead of it. Maybe before, about 5 years ago, it was much more common to purchase a hosting package and a site builder package separately. Now it is more common that those two things come combined. So if you choose a drag and drop builder like Wix or Weebly, they will be both the host and the site builder. So you do not need to purchase a separate hosting package. If you have something like WordPress, you do need to purchase a hosting package, and then WordPress will be your site builder. But those two things are separate. As far as function, they're combined in many companies now. So we'll still view them as separate because it's good for you to know the difference between your hosting company or the function of a host and the function of a site builder, even though for some of you it will be the same company. There's some information on how to choose a host. I will tell you, in my experience building websites, I don't see a lot of variation in hosting companies as far as performance. Their job is to make sure your website has space online and that is functioning and up and running, and the hosts that I use did a very good job of that. The difference you see is in their customer service. How accessible are they? What are their perks? Will they work with you? That's where I really saw a lot of the variation in hosting companies. So research various hosting companies and then use a quantify and compare spreadsheet to determine which ones make the most sense for you. Then answer these specific questions. This is not just your traditional essay. You have these set questions to answer for the host that you chose. So if you've got additional questions on choosing a host, let me know. But again, the site builder is really like the building you're creating if you're building a physical business, and the host is like the land you're purchasing. So purchasing a host package gives you space online to build your website. You have your discussion board, and then project 2. Project 2, like project 1, has a separate video. I will not be redundant. I'll let you view that video. This is really about creating your website. There are 5 tasks to complete. I find this easiest to explain actually using the grading rubric. If I click on that link down in the project rubric, I am looking for 3 things when you're done. Domain integration, meaning you have a purchased domain name. It doesn't say .weebly.com or .wixsite.com. It says yourwebsite.com or .org or .co, however you want to call that is fine, but you need your own purchased domain name. You need payment integration. However you want to generate revenue, you need some way to earn money from your website. So you need to have that payment integration. There's more detail on the instruction, but I'm really making sure that you have an affiliate link or a way to purchase a product on the site, something that truly functions. And then finally, design and personalization. You don't have to have the entire site designed at this point. You really don't. What we need is an attempt at design, meaning you got the basics in place, you have the general structure. I can see where you're going with the different pages you've created. It doesn't have to be polished. It does need to have some basic elements in there so I know where you're going as far as the color design, or the color scheme, I should say, and the where you'll have different features on the site and what pages you'll create. That's got to be in place. It just doesn't need to necessarily be polished. So those are the 3 elements I'm looking for. These tasks will get you there, right? And I'd encourage you all to watch the Project 2 video to help give you a good idea of what's required on this. And that'll be it for week 4. So you have your reflection due as well. Really an exciting time in the course as we pivot towards website building. But as always, please reach out if there are questions or concerns. Thanks, everyone.